Dear students, today we are going to start with chapter number 3, Private, Public and Global Enterprises. So let's start. First of all, I'd like to tell you the role of private sector versus role of public sector since independence. Immediately after independence, Government of India nationalized many enterprises and the government established many new undertakings. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 and 1956 assigned dominant role to public sector enterprises. That means many types of areas of businesses, many different types of businesses were there in the hands of public sector. The entry of private sector was restricted. There was licensing limit on the expansion of the business, like this. So because of their restricted role, in spite of the restricted role of private sector, even then the private sector grew in the market, grew in the economy and contributed in the economic growth. And in spite of giving priority to the public sector, even then public sector could not achieve the economic development in the country. That is why in 1991 the government of India adopted the policy of liberalization and globalization. That means licensing limits were reduced and out of Indian countries, MNCs, national companies were allowed, multinational companies were allowed to enter our market. Many barriers were removed, many security and strategic barriers were removed, and the limitations regarding licensing, that was removed, and the government adopted only and only strategic and security related concerns. Rest are all activities, all firms were given in the hands of private sector. So due to these changes, bache, there was tremendous improvement in economic development of the country, and the business environment has undergone many changes. So now we are going to study about various types of private, public and global enterprises. But now today we are going to discuss public sector enterprises. Forms or types of public sector enterprises. There are three types of public sector enterprises. These are departmental undertakings, these are public corporation or statutory corporations, and the third one is government companies. So let's start one by one. The first one is departmental undertaking. Departmental undertakings were the oldest form of public sector enterprises. These were the oldest. The departmental undertakings, these were the oldest form of the public sector enterprises. These were considered as one of the department of government. There was no separate legal entity, government or the departmental undertakings. They are one and the same entity, right? And the functions, these undertakings are functioning under the overall control of one ministry or one department. Like there was railway department, the railway industry was working under the Department of Railway, defense was working under the defense department, post and telegraph services were working under the postal department, like this, right? So these industries or undertakings were working under the overall control of one particular ministry. Then we have features of departmental undertaking. The features of departmental undertakings are these undertakings operate under the overall control of ministries of central or state government. That means whosoever ministry will be established by either by the central government or by the state government, these undertakings will work under them. Second thing, they are the part of government only. They were not the separate legal entity. Third, these were financed from the annual budget of the government. That means government was providing budget or money or funds to them. Revenues, whatever income was being earned by these undertakings, that was deposited in the government treasury. Then the staff of departmental undertaking was known as civil servant. The whosoever person was working under the departmental undertakings was known as a civil servant and was recruited and compensated as per the rules of civil servants only. Then these undertakings were under the direct control of departmental head, who is accountable to the concerned minister. That means the departmental head will be answerable in front of the concerned minister for the working of the departmental undertaking. And finally, these undertakings can be sued in the same manner as the case can be filed against the government. The way we can file a case against government, the way we can file the case against the departmental undertaking. So these were the features of the departmental undertakings. Now we have merits or advantages of departmental undertakings. The first merit is easy formation. It was quite easy to form departmental undertakings because no registration was compulsory for these undertakings. When you have developed the idea of working upon these undertakings, it came into existence only. Then effective control, because it was controlled by a single ministry only. It was under the direct control of single ministry. Control was centralized, so it was effective control. बच्चे किसी भी चीज़ को एक सिंगल पर्सन कंट्रोल करेगा और किसी भी चीज़ को एक से ज़्यादा लोग कंट्रोल करेंगे, डेफिनेटली द कंट्रोल ऑफ वन पर्सन विल बी more effective. Then optimum utilization of funds, because these undertakings budgets were sanctioned, the funds were given by the government budgets, and these were subject to the ministerial sanctions only. sanctions मिलते थे तभी वो funds को spend कर सकते थे, otherwise नहीं कर सकते थे. account and audit control जो था वो government auditors करते थे. So what was happening, because of all these restrictions, the funds were utilized in a very optimum way. Then accountability, there is direct parliamentary control. The performance of the departmental undertakings can be discussed in parliament, so the accountability was public accountability. Then we have public revenue. The revenue of these departments undertakings were deposited in the government treasury, and these incomes were help in increasing the government revenue, whatever they could, because we are depositing these funds in the income in the government treasury, so ultimately we are increasing the government revenue. Then is secrecy. Whatever the activities or the performance of the departmental undertakings, they can be highly secret, because government can avoid disclosure on the play of public interest. because बच्चे ये undertakings में जितनी भी information और discussions होती थी, these were kept in proper secrecy, and that is why defense was categorized under this category. That means departmental undertakings, because defense में हमें सबसे ज़्यादा secrecy की ज़रूरत होती है, right? Then we have merits, demerits or disadvantages of the public enterprises. Demerits. The first demerit is inflexibility. The departmental undertakings, they were working under the strict control of the parliament. There was too much political interference of ministers, interference of the top officials. So there was lack of flexibility, and the efficiency of undertaking was not too much. Then is lack of motivation, because there was too much interference of government department, and the people were not given the permission to utilize their revenues, and these revenues were deposited in the government treasury. Incentives नहीं मिलते थे उनको extra profit को maximize करने की वजह से. So what was happening बच्चे, the employees were losing their morale. उन्हें कुछ भी नहीं मिलता. There was no relation between efforts and rewards. हम लोग work कर रहे थे as civil servants. We were working over there, but in return we were not getting anything as rewards except our salary. अगर हम कुछ अच्छा भी सोचते थे, opinion भी देते थे, even then we were not being given anything. Secondly, promotions were not on the basis. Promotions were on the basis of seniority only, not on the basis of efforts. So पता ही होता था कि अगर senior जो person है उसी ने promote होना है, then why should we give the efforts right now? So employees were very much demotivated here. Then we have lack of financial autonomy. The departmental undertakings cannot plan about the long term investment projects, because they have to take funds from the government budgets only. They were not allowed to use the income directly. The income was deposited in the government treasury, so they have to depend upon the government to issue the funds, to realize the fund, and to utilize the funds. So financial autonomy or independency was not there. Then is inefficient management. The departmental undertakings are managed by the government officials, and these officials were overburdened with the paperwork. Paperwork ज़्यादा था बच्चे. They spend maximum time to answer the queries of the parliament only, and paperwork की वजह से और being answerable in front of parliament only, they were always busy in thinking about all these activities. अपनी management पे वो इतना ज़्यादा ध्यान नहीं देते थे. Then is red tapeism and bureaucracy. Red tapeism or bureaucracy means delay in the decision making due to too many formalities. When we have to do lot of paperwork, when we have to follow lot of formalities, because of that our working was being delayed. So this is known as red tapeism and bureaucracy, and it happened in the departmental undertakings that due to administrative formalities, lot of paperwork was there, procedure were there. So because of that, decisions were being delayed in the departmental undertakings. Second, next concept बच्चे, suitability of departmental undertakings, where these undertakings were suitable. First, where utmost secrecy is required. If you want to maintain secrecy of your activities, so you need to develop departmental undertakings like defense. वेयर गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल इज़ नेसेसरी, दैट गवर्नमेंट कंट्रोल की जहाँ बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है, लाइक ब्रॉडकास्टिंग, टीवी पे हम क्या ब्रॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं, रेडियो पे हम क्या ब्रॉडकास्ट कर रहे हैं. सो इन सच केस बच्चे गवर्नमेंट इंटरफेरेंस इज मच मोर इंपॉर्टेंट. यहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट की कंट्रोल बहुत ज़रूरी है, बिकॉज मास मीडिया पे जब हम कोई भी चीज़ पब्लिसाइज करते हैं, कोई रिलीज़ करते हैं, सो इट मे अफेक्ट लॉट ऑफ पीपल. सो यहाँ पे बहुत ध्यान देने की ज़रूरत होती है. सो लॉट ऑफ कंट्रोल इज़ रिक्वायर्ड. सो वी कैन develop departmental undertakings here also, where huge investment involved, like aircraft, iron and steel, etc., and where the undertaking is a source of income, like railways. So in all these cases, departmental undertakings are suitable. Then we have next type of corporation, that is public corporations or statutory corporation. Public or statutory corporation is a body formed by special act of parliament or by the central and state legislature. That is, you are forming these organization, these corporation, by passing a special act of parliament or by passing a special law by central or the state government. These organizations, these corporations are fully financed by the government only. Whatever be the powers, objectives or limitations of these organizations, these were depending upon the legislature or law. जो भी आपने act or law pass किया होगा, in that document everything will be mentioned about these things, and the main examples are Indian Airlines, Air India, State Bank of India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, Food Insurance Corporation of India, Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, etc. So what are the main features of these statutory corporations? The first feature is these corporations are created by an act of parliament or central or the state legislature. Second feature, the powers, objectives or limitations are mentioned in that particular act or legislature only. Third is it operates under the total or complete control of either central government or the state government. Then it is a separate legal entity. It gets incorporated automatically when act is passed in the parliament. Separate legal entity है, जैसे ही आपने parliament में act बनाया, the entity starts its working. Then it is managed by the board of directors who are nominated by the government. The board of directors manage these organizations, and these directors are appointed or nominated by the government only. These undertaking has their own rules and regulations for recruitment and remuneration for its staff and employees. They used to follow their own rules. LIC का अपना rule और regulation होगा, how to hire an employee और how to pay salaries to these employees. FCI का अपना rule होगा. हर एक का अपना अपना corporations के अपने rules and regulations, and those rules and regulations are being mentioned in the act only. Enjoys administrative autonomy as it is relatively free from political interference. It is assumed that these organizations are free from the government interference. Then the main motive is service to general, no doubt the main motive of these organizations is to provide services to the general public. Then is accountable to parliament or state legislature, has to submit its annual report on its working. These organization are answerable to parliament or state legislature, जो भी आपका law pass हुआ है उसके accordingly, and they have to submit their written report, annual report, to the parliament. Then the accounts of public corporations are generally, who audit the accounts of these organizations? Comptroller and Auditor General of in country. That means the government auditors, they used to audit the accounts of the public statutory corporations. Then we have bache merits or advantages of public corporations. First merit is administrative autonomy. A public corporation is able to manage its affairs with independency and flexibility. They have such a capability that they can manage their work themselves. It is on papers only, actually. When you will read about demerits, you will come to know about this. Then quick decisions, because they are relatively free from the much of the paperwork, and very little formalities are there, so they can take quick decisions here. Service motive, that this is advantage, that their main motive is service motive. Whatever they are doing to ensure the protection of public interest only. Then efficient staff, the staff of public corporation, because these corporations have their own rules and regulations to hire the employees and to pay them the wages or salaries, so they provide better facilities to the employees, attractive packages to the employees. So all these things help in making the staff work efficiently. Then is professional management. Its board of director consists of business experts and the representatives of various groups like labor group, consumers. These representatives are nominated by the government, and these are the professionally expert people who provide their expert services to the corporation. Then we have demerits or disadvantages of public corporation. First demerit is autonomy on paper only. No doubt we are saying that these organizations enjoy administrative autonomy, but actually this autonomy is on the papers only. Practically ministers, governments, they interfere in the working of these corporations. Then is lack of initiative. Public corporation do not face any competition एंड दे आर नॉट गाइडेड बाय प्रॉफिट मोटिव. सो जहाँ पे बच्चे कंपटीशन नहीं होगा वहाँ पे जो एम्प्लॉयज़ होंगे दे विल नॉट टेक मच ऑफ द इनिशिएटिव एंड ज़्यादा वर्क करने पे फोकस नहीं करेंगे. देन इज रिजिड स्ट्रक्चर. द ऑब्जेक्ट एंड पावर्स ऑफ द कॉर्पोरेशंस आर डिफाइंड इन द एक्ट. दे हैव टू वर्क अकॉर्डिंग टू दोज ऑब्जेक्ट्स, अकॉर्डिंग टू दोज लिमिट्स ओनली. सो देयर द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ दिस इज क्वाइट रिजिड. और अगर आपने कहीं अमेंडमेंट्स करनी है, इफ यू वांट टू डू एनी चेंजेस इन द स्ट्रक्चर, इट इज़ क्वाइट कॉम्प्लिकेटेड प्रोसेस, सो दे अवॉइड टू डू एनी चेंजेस. Then is unfair practices. The governing board of public corporation may indulge in unfair trade practices that may charge high prices to cover up the inefficiencies also. So these were the points of disadvantages of public corporation. Then we have suitability of public corporation, where public corporations are more suitable, where undertakings require monopoly power, that they want to gain full market power with them only, where undertakings require special powers defined by the act or statute if they want to gain any kind of special powers whichever is mentioned in their act. Where these undertakings require regular grants from the government. If you want grants from the government, then you should go for the public corporations. And where the undertakings require appropriate combination of public accountability and operational autonomy. That means you want to be answerable to public and you want independency in working, then these all corporations are suitable. So we have done two types of public enterprises. First is departmental undertakings and the other is statutory corporations. Now the third one is government companies. What are companies? We have already discussed in chapter 2. Now we'll continue with the meaning of government company. Government company means any company in which at least 51% of the paid up capital is held by the central or state government or partly by central or state government. Government company बच्चे कोई भी ऐसी company जिसमें government will purchase the share up to 51%, minimum up to 51% अगर शेयर गवर्नमेंट परचेज करती है, whether state government purchases it, whether central government purchases it, or whether both the governments combinedly purchase 51% minimum shares, then such company is known as government company. These companies are governed and ruled by the provisions of the Companies Act 2013, the way other registered companies work, and the main examples is Steel Authority of India, SAIL, State Trading Corporation, Hindustan Machine Tools, etc. These are the main examples of companies. बाकी बच्चे वर्किंग एंड स्टाइल क्राइटेरिया इज एवरीथिंग इज सिमिलर टू दैट ऑफ normal companies only. So what are the features of government companies? The first feature is registration. The government company gets incorporated under the Companies Act 2013. All the provisions of Companies Act are applicable on this also, and they can get the exemption by passing special resolution. अगर government company ने कहीं कोई भी exemption लेनी है, they need to pass a special resolution. Second thing is ownership. Ownership is wholly or partly by government only. The share capital of these companies is owned by the government, and most important point, the shares are purchased in the name of president of the country. President के names में हम share purchase करते हैं. Then comes the management. The government company is managed by the board of directors, and these board of directors are nominated by the government and by other shareholders, and the government has the authority to appoint majority of the directors because they are holding majority shares in the company. Then we have separate legal entity. The government company has separate legal existence. It can buy and sell property not in its own name the way other companies were dealing, like we have studied in the chapter 2, and it can enter into contract in its own name also. Ministerial control. A government company is subject to ministerial control. Yes, ministry का control है. The concerned ministry makes appointment of directors. Whosoever ministry will control, they will appoint the directors, and the ministry will issue directions to the directors how to work. Then financial autonomy. These organizations enjoy borrowing powers. It can raise capital from the market by issuing securities, and they are free to use the revenue for the growth of their own organization. अपने benefit के लिए they can use the funds of their own. Then efficient staff. Recruitment and remuneration of employees of government companies independently decided by the government company itself. Company अपने आप decide करेगी, तो definitely recruitment भी आप अच्छे basis पे, strong basis पे करोगे, and wages and salaries whatever you are being paid paying to your employees, that will also be suitable. Working conditions will be suitable. So no role of government in this. So बच्चे यहाँ पे staff will be more efficient. Last is accountability. The companies are accountable to the ministry or the department concerned. Its annual reports are discussed in the parliament or in the state assembly. These were the points of features of government company, that is registration, ownership, management, separate legal entity, ministerial control, financial autonomy, efficient staff, accountability. Then we have merits or advantages of government company. The first merit is administrative autonomy. Yes, these companies are relatively free from the government interference. They are free from the political interference. They can work independently. They can work smoothly without much control in the hands of government. They can introduce changes whenever required according to the Companies Act. Then is greater flexibility. The government companies are managed, financed and audited just as a simple private sector company, जैसे बाकी companies करती हैं. So they have more flexibility. They can bring changes according to the rules. Efficient staff, as they have their own rules and regulations, bache, so their staff will be more efficient. Good working conditions can be provided to the staff. It will make the staff more efficient to work and they will give better services. Then is collaboration. The government companies can avail and accommodate managerial skills, technical know-how or experts of the private enterprises by conveniently collaborating with it. That means government will provide us funds and we can hire the services from the outside technical knowledge or services. This is collaboration of government sector as well as the private sector. So these were the points of merits of government companies. Then we have demerits of government companies. First is autonomy on paper only. The freedom, flexibility offered to government companies is true theoretically only. Actually अगर आप देखोगे बच्चे, आप LIC सेक्टर में भी देखो तो गवर्नमेंट का इंटरफेरेंस, पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस इज देयर बिकॉज द गवर्नमेंट इज होल्डिंग मैक्सिमम शेयर्स इन द कंपनी. सो वहाँ पे गवर्नमेंट विल शो द डिक्टेटरशिप. जिसके पास ज़्यादा शेयर्स होंगे दैट कंपनी, दैट पर्सन विल शो डिक्टेटरशिप कि येस मेरा रूल चलना चाहिए यहाँ पे, राइट. देन इज पॉलिटिकल इंटरफेरेंस. द गवर्नमेंट कंपनीज आर ट्रीटेड एज द पर्सनल प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स. समटाइम दीज मिनिस्टर्स दे interference is much more there. Frequently interference hai. Whatever policies are being framed, they are framed according to the wishes of these ministers only. Board packed with government representatives. As we have said to you that the government has a right to nominate the directors only. So the whatever directors being appointed by the government representative, all these are the employees of the, but the government representatives होते हैं बच्चे, so they will work upon regarding the government welfare only instead of the company's welfare, right? Then we have suitability of government companies. These companies will be suitable where government wants to control a company in the private sector without nationalization. That you do not want to take over the company, you want to start a new company with your own name like this. With the government wants to go for collaboration with private enterprises, that you want to collaborate, join hands with private sector and with the projects require government planning and funds. या फिर ऐसा project है where you need government planning, funds from the government, like this, right? So this was the suitability of government companies. Once again bache, just a reminder, there are three types of public sector enterprises: departmental undertakings, public corporations or government companies. This is what we have done. Now you will study differences from your book. The first difference between different forms of the public sector enterprises, that means you will study the difference between all these three enterprises. And the second difference you will study about private sector and the public sector. Read the differences and take care.